Welcome to the Leader Mentality Show with Rob Clemens. We are on scene at the Salty Brews Cafe over here in North Myrtle Beach, also known as Cherry Grove, where we're at. And I've got a special guest on today. But as usual, we like to talk about a little bit about business, how to get yourself out there, improve your company, whatever it may be. And I have an expert on the show that we're going to talk to in a little bit. But there's something called social media that we all should be maximizing our companies and our brands on. But specifically, there's a brand of social media called human media. And this is the art of getting out there and responding to other people on social media, commenting on things. And this is one of the greatest ways to get your business out there. And the guy that I met today that we're going to be on with is just great at that. And he's going to talk all about it. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Bob, from Bob's Restaurant Review.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Man, it's good to have you. I feel like I knew you before we ever even met because you're just doing so many things on Instagram, man. So it's been pretty impressive.
I try to get everywhere. I try to hit every business, every event, everything I can. And I also put my picture and my wife's picture on there so people get to know us. Mm-hmm. And they see us, and if they want, they can call, reach out to me. And
yeah, it's pretty cool. Tell me what you've been up to lately since I know you said you get everywhere. What else going on?
We just did a fundraiser for North Myrtle Beach Humane Society where it was a kennel lock-in. Mm-hmm. So we got locked in the kennel for a couple of hours. And
was it a true kennel, Bob, where you're like on the ground?
No, it was a stand-up kennel, but it was, we actually had a dog with us.
Okay.
Each person in the kennel got a dog. And we had people come in and they donated money and tried to get us out of the kennel.
Okay. I guess it worked out since you're here with us today.
We got out.
Now, by the way, we're going to do a couple of fun things on the show today. Since we are at the Salty Brews Cafe, we're going to try out some food today. But we're going to start off with, we have some drinks here that they made. And I see you got a rubber ducky in yours. What's that all
I have
about?
a margarita with the signature rubber ducky that they put in a lot of it.
Signature rubber ducky, man. And anybody who knows Rob Clemens knows that I'm always a fan of caffeinated beverages. That has nothing to do with my energy level. But anyway, I'm going to try this thing out. Oh, that's good. I'm going to tell you what, man. That is a good French vanilla iced coffee. What about your margarita there?
That's a good margarita. It's a wine-based margarita.
Okay, wine-based.
So,
what's the difference on that?
The difference is that it doesn't have tequila.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So they actually don't have their actual full liquor license here.
Yeah.
They have the beer and wine.
Yeah.
But they're looking to get a full liquor license very soon. So.
Since you're with Bob's Restaurant Review, one of the things I would like to do today is I want to talk a little bit about what you find in how you rate a place. But we'll get back to that in a little bit. Right. You would say the margarita on a scale from 1 to 10. What are we doing here?
That's about an 8, being that it's a wine.
Right.
I prefer tequila ones, but
hey, I'm gonna get my coffee. Now you could say whatever, but I'm gonna say this is a 10 out of 10 coffee. This thing is really good. So hopefully everybody can come on down and check out the place. But back to what you were saying, you were working on the animal rescue over there with the North Myrtle Beach Humane Society. Right. Are you an animal person?
I have 3 dogs.
Yep.
My wife has 7 birds.
Woof.
We have 2 turtles, a fish pond, and I have 7 snakes in my garage gym.
Man, have you always been a snakes guy, or
Yes.
is this? Oh, okay, all right. Now, are these big snakes, little snakes? What?
They're thin snakes. They're only about 2 inches wide.
Okay, yeah.
But they're probably about 5 or 6 feet long.
Okay, so out of all these animals, and I love it, and we're animal people here, so I'm always down with that. What's your favorite of your animals? Is it the dogs, the snakes, the turtles?
I have a Greyhound Lab mix, who is my best friend.
Yeah.
Walks everywhere with me, goes anywhere I go, stays with me all the time.
Yeah.
So that's my buddy.
All right, well, that's some good stuff. So you've been doing that. What else have you been up to lately?
We've been to the Greg Rose Theater. We went to the pre-show, and then we went to the grand opening.
Oh, yeah.
And we're actually going again in another week. We've been to Martini's restaurant, which was very good.
Okay.
That was a very nice place. We went there for a dinner date before we went to Josh Turner concert at Alabama Theater.
That was at the Alabama Theater, absolutely. How was that?
Josh Turner is excellent.
Yeah.
Over the years, I've noticed he's playing less and less.
Oh, okay.
So by the time you're done, you're getting 10 songs.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is he coming back after that last one?
Right.
No,
he was one of the few people who didn't even have an intermission.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we were a little disappointed with that.
Yeah.
And last year when he came, we stayed outside by the bus to see if he can get an autograph. And there was a couple of little girls out there, and he wouldn't even come out and stop.
Oh, come on,
so,
Josh. Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed with his people skills.
Well, it's almost like where you need a PR manager sometimes. This is what we're talking all about.
Right.
How do you brand yourself, market yourself? It's that little thing where sometimes you need somebody to say, hey, look, there's some little girrs over there. Maybe just at least go sign theirs, even if you don't hit up Bob from Bob's Restaurant Review.
That's actually what I put on the review. Listen, I'm 59 years old. I don't need I don't need your autograph. But
with your Josh Turner poster on your wall. All right, I got
But these 16-year-old girls, this is what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And, the least you could do is take 2 minutes.
Well, look, I know at least one person who went to the show, and they said he was great, though. Like, what he did do was, like, he put it on, though. So, there's that. Yeah. Well, so you get around Myrtle Beach, and you've done a lot of things since you've been down here. We'll talk about how you got into the spot, but what's been your favorite thing that you've done since you've been in the area?
One of my favorite things is the Jeep Jam.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a Jeep, so we go every year. And just to go there and see all the vendors and know everybody and, talk about Jeeps and see how they do things over there. It's really an excellent event.
Yeah. Do you know the Design the Sign people?
I love Olga.
Yeah. I've had Olga on the show before. She told us her story at one point. Boy, it's a heck of a story, but they're out there making a big thing of it.
Yeah.
But
she has her anniversary party every year.
Oh, yeah.
And we've gone to that.
That was recent, wasn't it? Didn't she do it with, how was that this year?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. She has food from every country. She brings in a free bar. She has a band. She takes her backyard and puts up a tent up there, her back work area, and puts up a whole tent where you have dancing, and she just puts on.
It's a party.
A party.
I didn't get to go this year, but I went last year, and honestly, the thing you said about the food, I felt uncultured when I got there because I was like, well, what is that? Even though I was looking at it, I was like, well, I guess I'll try it. It turns out it's something very exotic. But no, that's cool stuff, and I've heard good things about Jeep Jam. What about CCMF? That's coming up soon.
We didn't go last year. I have breathing issues.
Okay.
So to go there and deal with the heat and the crowds, I'm a little nervous, but we're going this year. And I have a 4-day pass for that. So we'll see how we do this year.
Well, the good thing about CCMF is at least it is a big area, and we're excited to have it. In fact, Leader Mentality Show, we usually do a CCMF special. And so for those of you who are listening today, we should have a couple of the singers on the show with us as we lead up. So stay tuned for that one. Right. But, well, good. You'll enjoy that experience. If you're a music guy, I mean, that's going to go. Yeah. That's going to get to you.
And we have the Blue Crab Fest in Little River is coming up.
Okay.
We go to that and the Shrimp Fest every year.
Yeah,
so those are great.
The biggest thing with those is I feel like the parking is always tricky. What do you do when you get out there?
We go there really early.
Okay.
I try to get there like an hour before they even open up.
Yeah.
And I find one parking spot where there's an older man who we go to every year. This is like the 5th time we've gone there, and he waits for us. And every year like, park over there. So as long as you're there early enough, you don't have a problem.
Nice.
I won't do the park 4 miles away and take a bus.
Right. Well, and that's what some people do.
Yeah.
So no, I hear you. Well, okay, so let's go through Myrtle Beach a little bit because you've been out there, and I really want to talk some more about how you got ingrained in this. But I'm going to hit you up with some things. I want to see if you've done them and what you thought of them if you did. Okay, the Wax Museum.
Wax Museum I've been to a number of times.
Okay, all right.
I got a lot of pictures of myself with The Rock.
Okay, now this is the thing about the Wax Museum. I'm going to tell you this. I feel like when you go through, you could tell that somebody did the stuff that was like perfect Wax Museum person, and then you see the other one, they were in training, you're like, that doesn't look like.
Maybe they didn't have the heat on that one, the air conditioner on that one.
Right. Well, I just remember from that particular experience, the Sandra Bullock. To me, when I looked at it, I was like, man, that looks like a human being standing there. I don't know if you remember. How was The Rock? I don't remember that one.
The Rock was good. He's good. He's tall. They made him very tall. I don't know if he's that tall. But.
Was it the pre-shaved head Rock or the newer?
It was the shaved head.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, like he's in good company. So there's that. All right, so how about the aquarium? Talk about Ripley's Aquarium.
Ripley's we go to every year.
Okay.
They just had the sloth exhibit opened up about a year ago or so.
Was that good?
And that was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
I know that I have a friend who's a big sloth fan, and when it came into it and they were like, oh my God, there's sloths here. Yeah. I think Ripley's, they've done a great job with that stuff. Okay, what about if you were gonna go to either, it's a weekend, and you're either gonna go to the Marsh Walk down in Emerald's Inlet, or you're gonna go to maybe, let's say, North Myrtle Beach, and you're gonna hit up Barefoot. Which one are you doing?
Depends on what I'm looking to eat.
Okay. All right.
It depends on what I'm looking to eat. Because if I'm looking for a good seafood, I would rather go to Merrill's.
Okay, yeah.
You know, if I'm looking for a good Italian food, I'll go to North Myrtle.
Oh my gosh, man. Well, anyway, okay, give me a recommendation. We got the viewers. You're an expert. Bob's Restaurant Review. What's a great Italian place in town, and why?
A great Italian restaurant to me is Crave in North Myrtle.
Okay, North Myrtle Crave.
North Myrtle. I like North Myrtle better because it's more open. They have an outside bar. It's new. The food is the same as Myrtle. Yeah. Which is just excellent. They have excellent pizza. They're based originally from the Bronx. Okay. In New York. Yeah. Which is, you know, close to my heart.
Okay. So. All right. Gotcha. Yeah.
So they got excellent food.
So, but you're differentiating between the north and the one that's in the middle, I guess, in Myrtle Beach. What's the difference maker for you?
Like I said, the one in North Myrtle is bigger. It's almost the same floor plan. Yeah. But it's a little bigger. The seats down the middle are regular tables. Whereas in Myrtle, they're higher tables. So if you're sitting at a booth, you're looking at someone's back. Yeah, there you go. It just makes you feel uncomfortable. But they are rebuilding, or they're actually building another building 2 or 3 blocks away in Myrtle. Oh, okay. And close the one down in Myrtle and switch over
and then switch over. See, okay, and the reason I asked that question is, look, you're an expert in restaurants, but look, we could be talking about any business. Presentation and service are everything. We did a presentation at the Chamber of Commerce not too long ago, and we were talking about the fact you'd have the greatest food in the world, but if the service and or maybe even the atmosphere are not quite on point, that's going to affect your experience, right?
Absolutely.
So I mean, that's kind of what I'm feeling when you're saying, hey, it's how you feel when you go in. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Good thing for business to know. Okay, so let's go over to another thing you just mentioned. Talking about a great place to get some seafood. What's a special mention here?
Pretty much anywhere in Merrill's Inlet is good. I like the Claw House. Oh, yeah. They have great lobster roll. They have a nice seating outside. It's just a comfortable place. And fresh food. You know you're getting fresh seafood.
I tell you, my wife and I just went there the other day. One of our lovely customers gave us a gift certificate, so we went to the Claw House, and it blew me away. So, I mean, I'm right there with you. My first timer, but you know, that's kind of what I like people to know. It's like, how do you get to that point where you're saying this is a good experience versus a bad experience? In fact, I'm going to go there right now. Okay. Tell me, don't name the name, but tell me the worst experience you've had in this town when you're reviewing something.
We actually went to a restaurant here in Cherry Grove when COVID was just ending. And the burgers that we had there were probably saved from before.
Pre-COVID burgers?
Yes. And the drinks were, I mean, if you had a drink or a beer, the beer was warm. The drinks tasted off. So I think what happened was, being that the closures of all the restaurants and everything, I think that they just saved their stuff, and then as soon as they had a chance to open, they said, let's use it up before. So, but that place closed down.
Oh yeah, well, so, I mean, it's not surprising, right? Like sometimes you got to think about the little things. Well, look, since we're talking a little bit about food today, and we're at a beautiful place here with all kinds of food, they were kind enough at the management here to let us try some food. So you want to introduce this, and we're going to try it out and see what you think.
This is the signature Trashcan Nacho.
Trashcan Nachos. Sounds appetizing.
What you do is you get it, and
whoa.
Pick it up.
Whoa, man. That looks pretty good right there.
And this I've had before, and I'm not a nacho guy, but this I eat.
You know who is a nacho person? My wife. Okay, so now, honey, be paying attention. So we're going to try some, and I just want to get kind of like, I want to see an expert at work here. Tell me what you're thinking when you're trying one of these nachos out, and kind of what makes it good versus not, you know?
Well, to me, the nacho has to still have some crispiness to it.
Okay.
A little bit of saltiness, because I don't like to go to a place and get nachos and have to add salt.
Oh, right. right.
You know. And with this, the spice is right on. The amount of salsa, and if you get shrimp in it or meat in it, whatever you're getting, it's always filling. It's always enough, and it's not overpowering, and it keeps the flavor.
Yeah. It feels like, is this queso cheese?
Yes.
We've got a off
We got
camera. Hey, this is good stuff. I love some queso anytime, and it's got a little kick to it too. So it's kind of speaking of, we're going to be talking to Heather in a little bit, and she's going to tell us all about this. So this is great stuff, man. And we can't stuff our faces the whole time, but man, I'm going to partake in these for a while. Well, Bob, so you've been doing this for a little while. Tell us, how'd you get into this role here?
Well, my wife Annie and I moved down here from New York and New Jersey after I got on disability retirement. And it was the height of COVID. And we were taking pictures of food that we were eating down here because everything up in the north closed down. You couldn't even go to a restaurant.
Right.
And down here, at least you can go in, you had to wear a mask to go in, but if you sat at the booth, you could take the mask off.
Right. Yeah, the old magical safe area where you could take your mask off.
Yeah. So I started taking pictures and I started sending it to my family up north. And my niece said to me, why don't you start doing a review? And I said, all right, I'll try it. And it just took off.
Yeah.
And it took off.
And for you, was it like, I mean, you've always been a foodie kind of a guy, or
No. As a matter of fact, my brother-in-law came down here a couple of months ago and he said, you're the only man I never know who would only eat steak. He said, that's all you ever ate. And now you're doing reviews on all different foods. There's something wrong here.
And this way is kind of perfect. He's like, for the first time I'm trying, what is this called, a hamburger?
Right.
No, that's awesome. Well, as far as your methodology of doing this, is it that you call the place ahead and say, I'm coming, or how does this whole thing work?
Normally I don't. Occasionally places will reach out to me and ask me to come in. And I'll say fine. And some of them will say, could you tell us when you're coming in? And, we'll comp your meal. Immediately I say, I am not telling you when I'll come in. Because I want the same service as anybody else. I don't want to be treated anything different. Because that way I can get the full experience. And then I tell them I will not take a free meal.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be biased in any way. I want to be able to go in, eat the food. Plus, I'm doing this to support the businesses. Okay. So if I take a free meal, I'm taking a little money out of their pockets. Not a lot, but it's something that, you know.
Well, I mean, I love that. I mean, I think that it's important, and you're not doing it for this, but it's important to support local. And I don't care if you're in Myrtle Beach, if you're in New Jersey, New York, wherever you are, when we're supporting our local businesses, we're hopefully creating a better economy for each other. So I appreciate that you came from that standpoint. When you're going into a establishment, and let's just talk a little bit about, tips for people, and we're talking about tips for what makes for a inviting atmosphere. What are you looking at first? I mean, what jumps out at you as a pleasant experience?
Normally, I'm one of those people, even during the off season, I make reservations. So to me, that's very important on most places that do take reservations, because if you get there and they tell you it's a 2-hour wait, I'm not waiting around.
Yeah, right.
So I do jump on the reservation, and if I do a reservation and they still make me wait, then then you're starting off really bad.
Yeah, that's never good.
So that's not good. Then I'll walk in and I'll make sure everything looks clean. The menus aren't sticky. The tables aren't sticky.
Right.
Then we sit down and see how our waiter or waitress is, and see how they come over to us and how they deal with us. Occasionally a manager will come over, which is nice that a manager takes the time to stop at a table and says it. So that adds points to it. And then, of course, it's the food.
Right. And some place, and there is the food. All right, so let's go through something. I've had this conversation a lot of times with people who own establishments. And I talk about restaurants because it's an easy one. We've all been through this. But it's that feeling of you're a person, you go sit down at a table with your wife, your friends, whoever you're with, and you're sitting there for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and you're wondering, Nobody's come by yet, and depending on your level of anxiousness, maybe 3 minutes is enough, maybe 5 minutes is enough, and then at some point you're wondering, is anybody ever going to come see me?
Yes.
I think that's a critical part of all businesses. We have to let us be known, and I was saying that one waitress, even if it's not your waitress, that just stops by and says, hey, has anybody been with you? That means a lot, right? I mean, what have you been in your experience? Has anybody just had like the craziest, best service that you've had?
Most places we go to have good service. It's depending on the season also.
Yeah.
Because if you're coming here during the height of vacation and tourist season, things are going to be a little slower.
You got to be
It's definitely going to be slower. So you have to take an account for that. During the winter, if you're waiting 5 minutes for somebody to come in,
that's a long time. Yeah.
Then you have a problem.
Yeah. My wife and I, we went out for Valentine's a few years ago, and we kind of like made a vow on that day we're never going to go out on Valentine's ever again, because we set reservations, and like an hour later we finally sat down. Wow. And you couldn't even get mad though. I mean, there's lines out the door, and I'm like, I'm one of those people, but then at the same time, I see a guy go over to the manager and he's giving them heck and whatever. So, so your wife and you moved down here together. How does she like this part of things? Has this been cool?
She loves it. She loves the fact that I take control of finding out where we're going to eat.
Okay. Oh, all right.
It's not that banter back and forth. What do you want tonight? What do you want tonight? I've already got things planned.
Oh, right.
And 90% of the time, I don't even tell her.
Okay.
We went to the Myrtle Beach Safari.
Okay, all right.
A lot of people might not like it, but we went there, and I just told her, just don't worry about it. Just don't worry where we're going.
Yeah.
And we just drove there, and she's like, well, should I get dressed up? I'm like, no, don't worry.
No, you don't.
Wear comfortable clothes.
Right.
Yeah.
So she comes in sweatpants and
She was complimenting. She loved it.
Right.
She loves the fact that I surprise her with the different things, and it's never boring.
Yeah. No, you're always keeping it exciting from that. What's the biggest difference between food back home and then down here at Myrtle Beach?
Food back home mostly is brought in from someplace else.
Yeah.
You might get vegetables from homegrown, and especially in Jersey, you get the tomatoes and
stuff. Sure.
But down here, you're getting fresh seafood. You're getting fresh food all the time. And that's what's important.
Well, that's a very cool thing about being along the coast. So I'm going to switch gears with you a little bit. Greg Rolls, we got to see each other at the Greg Rolls Legacy Theater, the ribbon cutting, if I'm not mistaken. I felt like I already knew you when I got there, as we said. But how'd you get involved with the Greg Rolls Theater?
About 3 years ago, Greg on the Carolina AM mentioned that the Greek church was doing a Christmas dinner.
Okay.
And they needed desserts. My wife made 600 cookies. But she had to go through Greg to get to the theater.
Okay.
So then one night I said to her, come on, we're going to Crave. Greg was playing there.
Okay.
I didn't tell her.
Greg himself was playing there.
He was on his one-man show.
And he's ever the showman, so
yes.
Yeah, I got you.
But she loved Greg.
Yeah.
Greg is her boyfriend. I call her, I tell her, Greg, that's the only one you're allowed to have.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So we went there, and he came around and said hello to everybody, and I was explaining to him about Annie was the one who made the cookies, and ever since then we've been friends.
Okay,
and
nice.
We're close. I mean, I love Greg. I love Brandy. The whole family are great people.
Good people. Talk about your wife's business real quick. She makes cookies, and
she makes designer sugar cookies.
Okay.
She could put anything on a cookie.
Really?
Yes. She's incredibly talented.
Hey, look, if you're a business out there and you need a cookie maker, and look, I think it's those memorable things that sometimes make you stand out. You always got to look at it and say, how do I make myself differentiate from every other restaurant, from every other construction company? Right. And sometimes it's something that just makes yourself memorable. So I love that.
My wife, she makes, like I said, she makes the sugar cookies. Designer cookies, puts anything on them, and she's done baptisms, she's done wedding showers, she's done bachelorette parties.
Oh.
Some are, the, what do you call it, the no content ones, or the ones you can't talk about.
We got a PG show here.
Yes. She's done grand openings. She does restaurants. She does a lot of giving back to the community. Also.
So cool. Yeah. So a little bit of charitable stuff, a little bit of for-profit stuff. Nothing wrong with that. Can you plug her real quick? I just want to know how we can find her.
She's on Instagram, Annie Sweet Stuff, and she's just fantastic.
Man, go check her out.
DM her as soon as you can.
All right, awesome. Well, okay, so we start off the show with promoting yourself. And believe me, it's important that we talk about this because for the person who knows how to do social media, you can grow a following fairly rapidly if you know what you're doing. And you have been amazing on Instagram. In fact, almost everybody I talk to, they've heard of you. They know who you are. And it's not like you're spending, $1,000 a month on a billboard and advertisements everywhere. You're just literally doing this through a great social media campaign. What are some of your tips of how you did this?
I follow as many people as I can. I follow as many restaurants as I can.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to put a review on them, I want them to see it. And I tag them and I make sure they're in it. I also go back and I like or I comment on other people's stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you get that personal part, it brings you closer.
Yes.
And then they'll know you, you'll know them, and then if you do see them somewhere or you do go to the restaurant, then you know them.
Man, and look, that is such a powerful message. And look, I hope that the people listening to the show today are soaking that in, because I've talked to so many marketing people over the years who say, I've got this advertising campaign. Maybe they're great at graphic design. Maybe they're okay at making a social media post, but the missing element is really the connection.
Yes.
And you just described that. It's like the very act of saying, hey, what a great post today, sometimes makes people feel like this guy cares about me. And when somebody cares about you, you want to go to bat for them.
Right.
So you've done that, and you've got something, 4,000 followers on Instagram?
I've got close to 4,000.
Yeah, and it's just growing. How long have you been doing that for?
3 years.
3 years. I mean, so in 3 years, you've grown over 1,000 followers a year. That's pretty awesome. I think any business could aspire to that. As far as content goes, how are you going about that?
Well, as you said before, I'm promoting myself. I'm not really promoting myself. What I try to do is promote the restaurants.
Yeah.
So I'll put a picture of the restaurant on the front usually. I'll put pictures of the drinks that we have. I'll make sure I put all the food that we have. And at the end, I'll always usually add myself and my wife together at the restaurant, show we were really there. Right. You can make anything up.
With a piece of food in your mouth. Yeah, we did it.
But that's really important. And then in the content, I write about the food and I write about the service. And, especially I try to get the server's name. And I try to put them out there, because if the restaurant sees it, they'll go back to the server and they'll be good with it.
I love that. I feel like you're getting so popular, you're going to have to start getting a disguise though. Because they're seeing you from a mile away now. They're like, oh man, let's be on our... So I think eventually you're going to have to get like a little fake, I don't know, a beard or something.
People do stop us.
Right. Well, that's awesome. Well, listen, I'd like the people to know how they can find you. And before we get into that, what's up next for you?
Next is we're going to Greg Rolls Theater for another show.
Yep.
Then we're going on a airboat ride.
Okay. Ooh.
Then we have Lone Star is playing at Greg Rolls Theater. Then the week after that, I believe, is a comedian at a magician at Greg Rolls Theater. So we got things all over the place.
I believe, Greg told me this story one time, I believe he was with Lone Star, some of the members of Lone Star at one point.
Greg was one of the founding members.
Yeah.
And when they decided to go on tour, they talked to him about it, and he had just gotten married to Brandy.
Okay.
And he said, I'm going to stick back. You guys go on tour. And he actually won Star Search that year.
Yes,
so it worked out for both of them.
Man, I'll tell you what, the family man, and there's a story behind that too. He took the path that led to his wife, and I know he's happy with that path every day, so that's cool. And by the way, this show has been brought to you by the Greg Rolls Legacy Theater, so go check him out in North Myrtle Beach when you get a chance. Very cool stuff. How can people find you, Bob?
You can find me on Bob's Instagram, on Bob's Restaurant Review, and pretty much anywhere out on the road. If you see a blue Jeep with a dragon on it, you'll know it's me.
Thank you to design the sign.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for having you.
Thank
yourself
you for
on the show.
having me.
Stay tuned. We're going to bring in Heather from Salty Brews Cafe in 1 minute. All right. So now we have Heather from the Salty Brews Cafe, and thank you so much for having us here as your place to be today. I love being on scene like this. We had Bob on today. We had some of your Trashcan Nachos. So this is a great establishment. Tell me all about the menu here.
So our menu can be 100% gluten-free. My chef, Jason, when I hired him, his wife, she's a celiac, so when they would go on vacation, sometimes she would get sick. So he wanted to design a menu that when people are here on vacation, they can come and enjoy food without getting sick while they're here in town.
Wow, that's cool. And you got such a good menu here. I'll tell you what, I got a chance to have your coffee here today.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to be real with you. I did not expect to have a great coffee. You don't think you're coming to a place that has food and you're going to get a really killer coffee, but this is really good. Are you a coffee person?
So yes, I drink coffee every single day. Iced coffee, whether it's from here, and we also have another restaurant called the Chaw House. I drink it there every day. Or, I'm not going to lie, I do go to 7 Brew too every now and then. But we actually use a local roaster, Burchin Lane, out of North Myrtle Beach.
Nice.
So she's our roaster for our beans.
Now, have you lived in this area for long?
Since 2003. I'm originally from Dillon, South Carolina.
Dillon.
Yes.
Okay, so Dillon, I believe it or not, I lived in Lamar for a little while, which, I mean, very little while, but we had the Lamar Silver Foxes. Have you ever heard of them? No, okay, right.
No, I went to Dillon Christian.
Oh, Dillon Christian.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
gotcha. So are you a big fan of South of the Border? You know, that's near Dillon, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I went there whenever I was living there, but I don't honestly go anymore. But
I always laugh, and Bob would know off camera, when you're driving down from New Jersey to Myrtle Beach.
That's the first thing you see.
You see just sign after sign, South of the Border, and then you finally pass it and you're like, wait, what is this place? Right, so she's from there, so that's one of your stomping grounds.
Yes.
All right, cool deal. Well, hey, we love the place. The food was great. Everybody,
Thank you.
come check out the Salty Brews Cafe here in Cherry Grove, and you can meet Heather and all the rest of this lovely, nice staff. So thanks for having us over.
Thank you for coming.
All right, absolutely. And thank you to the Greg Rolls Legacy Theater. We appreciate the sponsorship. We also want to thank all of our fans. We'll catch you all next time on the Leader Mentality Show with Rob Clemens.